We must stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Election. And you can elect me, Mayor of Brampton, after, a solid weekend at Ruchi's Masala House in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Anyways, upcoming dates, April 4th, Drayton Valley this weekend, this Friday. Get your tickets now. April 11th in Mayleg, Alberta. April 12th in Lloydminster. April 20th, FO 20 in Edmonton, Alberta. April 25th, 26th in St. John's, New Brunswick. April 27th in Fredericton, New Brunswick. May 2nd in Barrhead. May 3rd in Fort McMurray. May 9th in Hanna. May 10th in Medicine Hat, Alberta. May 23rd in Halifax, June 6th and 7th, just me in Kelowna, British Columbia. June 13th, we are in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. October 17th in Berwyn, just in time for Mayor Elaine's election. October 18th in Grand Prairie, Alberta. Tickets available at dangercatshop.com. This week we're going to do a deep dive of everything surrounding the controversies. It's going to be a longer show on the Patreon 2-hour episode. On the page, patreon.com/dangercat69. Head on over there. Great way to support the show. Let's get into it. April Fool's Day just passed. No joking. Jokes are not allowed now. I've seen way too many pages coming out and being like, don't put a joke out if about pregnancies because some people can't get pregnant. Sucks to suck. When did all of a sudden, why? Why are we thinking that we need to police the jokes now? Is that where we're at? Is everybody now is like, oh, you can't make fun of something that's very personal to me? Knock it off. Everybody gets it. You don't like it, don't look at it. We're trying to safeguard society so much that now those that are disenfranchised and feel that their feelings matter more than others are trying to censor the jokes, and it's time for them to shut up. It's time for them to go away. You weren't meant for this shit. You never were, but I seen way too many come up. Don't joke about this April Fool's Day. Keep it wholesome. No. Enough of that. Enough of this. The wholesome stuff isn't working anymore. We tried it out. It led to very disturbing things that we're going through in 2025. A lot of folks now feel the need that they need to step up and police the jokes, and we're tired of it. I'm sick of it. I feel like you're sick of it as well. Some of us enjoy a good joke, a very harsh and low blow joke. We like it. We don't mind it. And now you feel the need to step out from the shadows and be like, listen, we've been trying for 6 to 7 years to have a child. You know what? Maybe Pierre Poilievre's right. Biological clock is ticking and you clocked out. That was something. That's what the lib ladies are mad about. We're going to take a deep dive into the boomers this episode. The Canadian boomer who has led the charge on this selfishness, and has bred many young people to feel entitled as well. And now we're seeing the repercussions of it as they are riding off into the sunset. The selfishness is not, it hasn't peeled away from them. They have not shed that skin. And going into this election, we're seeing it in full force. Young people are leaning a certain way. Old people are leaning the other. They want to protect their wealth. They want to protect what they have. What they have until they reach the grave, and even then they want to keep it to them. While dead, cold, in a grave, they want these particular items to stay with them. They want to take it to the grave. And we're gonna dive into that a little bit of controversy. And first off, weekend in Saskatchewan. Let's go over the weekend update. Great weekend in Saskatchewan. We did, I had backlash over the weekend. Not even going into the weekend, there was backlash. It is arisen once again, the lightning rod of controversy. I believe they're dubbing me on news networks. No, they're not, but it sounds good, doesn't it? Anyways, heading into the weekend, Public Access, check out their show, Public Access. It is on YouTube. They run a very funny show. It's always fun to be a part of it. It's a phony news public access style show that you would see on like PBS, and they do it in a very funny way. They bring on guests and they rake them over the coals. You're going into the Lion's Den. They both do a wonderful job with the show. They showcase stand-up comics that are local to the scene, even Alberta as well. And they run a very good show, so I recommend going and checking them out on the YouTube there, Public Access. YAG, I believe, is what it is. Throw in the comments section that Uncle Hag sent you. They'll love it. But so there was a bit of a controversy surrounding the show. Now, there was many problems to it. A local MLA, an NDP MLA, decided that she wanted to prove that New Democratic Party members have a sense of humor. And this would have been the perfect show to do it. These guys run a very funny show. They brought on what I believe was a convicted pedophile, and not me. I have not yet been convicted. Not yet. Me and Ghislaine are still running. Anyways, I just don't have a photo with Mark Carney yet. Once Mark Carney gets a photo with me, the pedophile trifecta has been completed. But anyways, they run a show that MLA was supposed to be the guest on to prove that this was her words, not mine, that she wanted to prove that politicians do have a sense of humor. And just a week out of the show, she cancels on them. Due to, I think, it's like a beef that Public Access has with a local improv group. And you know how funny those guys are. It's no way that Public Access is even remotely as funny as an improv group. Come on. And for them to take a swing at an improv, that's a big swipe at the plate. But I respect those boys for, even stepping in the batter's box to take a swipe at an improv group. You know how funny those are. We all watch, this hour has 22 minutes. I'm on the floor laughing. I've pissed my pants in the first 8 minutes of watching that show. It takes me at least 48 minutes for a trickle to leave the tip of my penis when I'm watching Public Access. Although, funny show, this hour is 22 minutes. I'm keeling over. I'm glad my tax dollars are going to that. The writer's room in there must be a riot. Anyways, so this MLA pulls out of the show, and then it begins. The other improv group here in town. I'm giving you like inside lore of the Edmonton comedy scene, but then it brings me into the mix here. But so she pulls out. The boys down at Public Access call myself an Indigenous TikTok creator. He's widely known on social media, has a very large following, makes pretty funny videos. LJ Musqua is his name. Super nice guy. I've never performed alongside him. I've seen him do stand-up. He's very new to stand-up, but he does his videos. Super nice guy. Really funny in the moment. But him and I are on a poster together for public access, and it sparks backlash. It's rather disturbing to know that two people cannot perform on the same show without there being some form of activism that needs to take place. And so LJ and I are on this poster, and it sparks some controversy within a community. And those people do not enjoy that he and I were on the same show together. And a lot of lies started spreading out of it, is that I was producing the show and that I'm just, a lot of slander on his name as well, which is insane. So this poor guy, just for being on a show and helping out a local show because an MLA pulled out of it, backlash ensued. So once again, we cannot trust these politicians. If this did not happen, LJ would be fine. There would be no backlash for being on a show with me. So once again, the blame falls on a politician. So this election season, just keep in mind that these people are grotesque. They attempted. I shouldn't say they ruined. I take those words back. They did not ruin the reputation of an Indigenous creator, but a local MLA, due to her decision-making on a local show of not attending it, then led to the reputation of an Indigenous creator being tarnished. Oops. And that to me is wrong. So I will not be voting for Sarah Hoffman this election cycle. She's not even in my riding, so I can't even vote for her. But it's nice to just take a stance in that way, so I can feel like I've done something today, right? I can feel righteous. I can feel whole. And that is my way of standing up for not only Indigenous TikTok creators, but also for comedy itself. Seeing as a gentleman had received a backlash due to a politician dropping out of the show. Am I going to take any blame on this? Not at all. Not at all. I am going to slough it off and put it on her shoulders, because if she would have just did the show like she promised, he and I wouldn't have to step up to the plate to save the show. And unfortunately, it had to unfold that way. And, I on a serious note, I do think it's a tad ridiculous that, it's gotten to the point that even if my presence is around Indigenous and Native creators, that there is this type of uproar. I've talked about this cancellation ad nauseum on this podcast, and I believe that those that are tuning in are privy to what happened. You know, it was a roast battle joke from, I think we're going on year 4 now. What was it? 3 or 4? I can't remember. I'll have to go back in the logbook. And but it was one joke said, and then Walker's merch design, and now it's continuing, and the gatekeeping taking place here is absurd. If this guy wants to perform, he can perform wherever he would like. And that's what I truly believe is, you know what? And I'll be honest, on that show, when the episode comes out, if they do put it online, he definitely stole the show, if I'm being honest. He was dressed up in a Batman suit and played a character, Rez Batman. And quite funny. It's tough to... It's tough to duke it out on stage comedically when somebody gets to dive into a character. I mean, you try your best and you try and stay in the pocket with him, but he was cracking me up. It's pretty ridiculous when you got to look to the left of you and you see a gentleman dressed up in a Batman costume saying some very obnoxiously gay things to you. But the job got done. And with that... Unfortunately, he took a bit of heat online over being on the same show as me, which is upsetting. I don't want that to be a part of my, I feel like legacy is a strong word, but I guess part of my journey in stand-up is if some people perform alongside of me or they're on the same show as me, not even one that I've produced, in my branding and name, my branding isn't even attached to it, but just my name being attached to a show that has a certain type of human on this planet, that they receive backlash for that. These are funny people come together to make some jokes and make people laugh. That's all it is, and nothing more. And I know many journalists out there like to perpetuate constantly in their slander rags that if you attend one of our shows, you're basically advocating for the rise of another Reich. And that's nothing more than the truth. No. The Saskatchewan shows were great. It was great to be out that way. Swift Current, what a lovely little town. Boy, do they like to pound the booze out there, don't they? I guess nothing else to do in Swift Current but pound the liquor in a pool hall. And we applaud you for that. If you think that I'm about to sit here and shame you for this, I would never do such a thing. Now that would be something I would applaud, even given that I've slowed down on the boozing myself. I feel like I got to get this out here. The guy that created a brand, heavy metal, heavy women, heavy drinking, is kind of off the sauce for right now. I don't know if I think I've touched on it briefly, but I've been kind of behind the scenes and not hitting the piss, just not a good thing for me. As I reflect on these moments in my drunken stupor, I realized that the main problem in my life was due to alcohol. And I don't think that there's any shame in admitting that most of the mistakes that I've made in my time on earth were due to me being extremely intoxicated. It's okay to like reconcile and put those problems in the past. The many friendships that I've ruined, relationships, opportunities blown due to just being a drunk for hire is now funny, but also can be quite depressing. So with that, given the position that I am in now, slowing down on the intake of alcohol was probably the right decision. And I'm also, I'm 34 years old now. I'm 34 years old. I don't think the idea of being a drunk for hire at this age is very appealing. It is not cute. It is not sexy by any means. Having a few drinks on a weekend, not a problem. Every now and then one slips away. I'm not going to sit here and preach sobriety on anybody. I'm not about to be that guy. I'm just telling you my experience and my existence on this plane, on this flat, one-dimensional earth. So that way, maybe there are some folks that are going through something that need, maybe there's a bit of motivation to take the steps to correct some of the wrongs that you've done in your own life. And I'm all for that. It's okay to fuck up, but to continuously fuck up over and over and over again and expecting some form of change to happen without making any change of direction. It could be a 1 degree change on your path, 1 degree. And over time, it takes you in a whole new direction. So that sometimes that's all that takes. And I hope that anybody out there that is kind of seeking some form of help or they don't know where to begin, that all it'll take is just something starting in your mind, and then that can flourish into action. And before you know it, a month has passed, 2 months, and you're a year down the road, and you look back and things are completely different than what your reality has shifted so much that it becomes unrecognizable from your past. You may find yourself surrounded by different people, finding new hobbies, taking up fitness, That seems to be the number one thing once people stop boozing is they get into fitness. But I'm not going to preach any of it. I'll tell you about my journey. I'll be, kind of vocal a little bit more as I progress in my fitness journey. That's right. I'm going to be talking about getting in shape. I encourage you to do so as well. I know that this show is designed to be a slightly left-leaning podcast, and many of you have probably tuned out by now because you don't want to hear about this preachy bullshit that you could watch on intervention, and I understand that. I understand that entirely. That's why we are going to shift gears and aim at the boomers. The crosshairs are on the boomers and they are on the rise, okay? And before I get into this, I want to make something very clear, okay? I have no allegiance to any political party. I will not be participating in the popularity contest in 2025. There is not a singular candidate to motivate me, to get me off my ass and down to a community hall or a high school gymnasium to vote. And I know you would think a guy that looks like me in a voting booth in a high school gymnasium where I get to walk back into the glory days and see the fresh crop that's coming out now, boys, huh? No. Be like Matthew McConaughey. Hey, the one thing I love about hanging outside of the gymnasium is look at it smells like fresh puss in here. No. None of that. I will not be going down there. Not at all. Not even if a election booth is in a high school gymnasium. Not even maybe. I will not be attending. I will not be casting my vote. There are 0 MLAs in my riding that excite me enough to give them not only my time, but my vote. I want to make that very clear. This is going to be strictly a month of bashing and making fun of everything that these dorks are doing. None of them, to me personally, are worth getting up off my ass, and that's all the way up the chain to these political leaders. The leaders of every political party in this nation could not get me off my ass to even answer the door for their volunteers that are looking to answer. Hey, well, who will you be voting for this election? Shit, I'll be voting for Beetlejuice, motherfucker. But let's get into it. The boomers are running one of the greatest pranks they could possibly do. This is my conspiracy theory, and I'm sticking to it. As these people begin to croak and they clutch onto the last of their belongings, and not looking to hand it down to the generations below them, their last prank is to elect a governor of the banking system of the United Kingdom. A generational fucking banker, a hedge fund manager. And now these folks who have been, the younger libs have been parading around saying we need to eat the rich, right? Well, this guy that you are going to be championing into this next election could not be the perfect example of a eat the rich type scenario. This man has had control over the financial system of the United Kingdom, and a lot of people have their own thoughts and opinions on how Brexit was handled. He was a financial advisor for Trudeau while lockdowns were happening. There is a list of things, and one in particular that really stands out that nobody seems to be talking about right now is he was photographed with Ghislaine Maxwell. That's right. photographed with Ghislaine Maxwell. I'll say it again for the people in the back. And for those that do not know who Ghislaine is, this would be the right-hand woman of Mr. none other than Pedophile of the Year, Time Magazine's Pedophile of the Year for the past 5 years, Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get any better than that. An international sex trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein's wife. He is photographed numerous times with this woman, and not a single news outlet is hammering him at all. So this, again, leads me to believe that the media might be a little left-leaning here in Canada. And I don't know why they would be. Why would they want to be left-leaning? Oh. So they are actively not writing about a convicted sex trafficker who is locked up in Tallahassee right now, allegedly, was photographed with the current Prime Minister of Canada. And this is not a conversation. But the boomers, thank God, the boomers are watching television. They're locked in on their screens. They have the TV going all day long with the federally funded media arm of the nation. And they have made their decision, and they are going lib. They do not want to let go of the belongings. They bought a house in 1996. That's a fucking million square feet for $100,000. That's now worth about $2.6 million. They cannot let this go. They have retirement homes in Phoenix, Arizona, because and in their time, it was very easy. You could have one job. The wife stayed home. Life was good. You could put money in the savings. I'm not up to my ears in debt. I own everything that I have. It's very easy to navigate this wonderful world once you have it by the balls. And we spent zero time fucking that up for you guys. Why? Hey, get the credit cards out. Get the interest rates up. Why would you want to buy your home outright? Why? Everything about the financial system right now benefits these people, and they are not hiding their selfishness. I would add, they are not hiding the selfishness that they have, and I almost applaud that. I think it is the one of the best pranks that the boomers are going to leave us with. Some of these people are going to expire quite soon. And if you've seen any of Mark Carney's campaigns over the campaign stops that he's had, it is no different than a retirement home in Mississauga. That's what it looks like. If we were just to overlay the sounds of zombies walking from The Walking Dead, it would match up and sync perfectly. You would think you're watching the opening scene of Rick going through a torn down town that's infested with the zombie disease. And now these folks, now we're going to look into this. Our first video of the day is there is a woman. This is the Liberal rally out in Waterloo, and we have ourselves our first boomer.
I'll be selling my house and I'll be moving.
Let's refresh this.
I will be selling my house and I'll be moving back to the UK.
Wow. How's your experience been in Canada the last 9 years?
You know what? Honestly, I can't complain. I'm very fortunate.
There it is. I'm very fortunate. These past years, I've been able to not only save money, but I've been able to make money. I've had money sitting in my RRSP that's just collecting. The wealth that is compounded over the past 9 years has been extremely beneficial to my financial status in the current era of Canada. So as I look down upon these kids that are whining about, oh my God, it's so hard to just tie up the bootstraps and go to work. Isn't that what most boomers say? Just tie up the bootstraps and get to work. That's what they tell us. Hey, you just gotta work hard, go to school, get a good job. Meanwhile, the educational institutes are selling these kids a false lie to go and get these degrees that do not matter. I mean, I'm seeing some videos coming out of these people talking about, I don't even know what the course was, but it has a PhD in gender fucking assimilation. I can't remember. It was the most wild course, or I guess a degree. So they're selling lies on top of it. We're falling for it. I mean, we got to admit, like my fellow millennials have been sold a lie and they've bought into it entirely, that somehow you can just make a living doing whatever you want. Even these unwanted and unneeded courses that they've duped you into taking, which will lead you to nothing more than a sales associate's job for Dollarama to pay off student loans that, are going to chew up 60% of your wage. We really accomplished some things, but the boomers, I've done very well. I've been very fortunate. Good for you, right? Good for you. Keep clutching onto whatever you have. Meanwhile, we'll get into that after we have an article to dive
A lot of
into.
people are in the same boat as I am, but I want to make sure it stays that way.
Yeah.
And I don't plan on living the Handmaid's Tale in real time.
Ooh.
So that's why.
Would you say that Mark Carney is going to be a better leader than Justin Trudeau?
I don't know, because he's going to have the same things to go up against. He's going to have a COVID epidemic. Like, you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
I don't think you compare one or the other. But I think now he's who we need, because he's the economist. Get us out of this mess that we're in, thanks to Trump.
Thanks to Trump. Trump did all of this. This is exactly why I love the boomers. They eat it up all day long. You put it on a TV screen, you put that on a TV screen, it is nothing but the truth. Trump did all of this to us. Has Trump been in for the past 9 years? It's almost like it's a real head scratcher up here in Canada to figure out who's caused the mess for us. And nothing we love more than pointing our fingers in the opposite direction, which is exactly why I started the show the same way as what they're doing to Trump. Is it my fault that, an Indigenous creator got into trouble? No, you blame a different politician. That's why it's all Sarah Hoffman's fault that LJ got in trouble. That's why. That's why it happened. If Sarah Hoffman, MDP, MLA, who claims that, New Democratic Party members have a sense of humor, wouldn't have pulled out of the show, LJ would have not been in the position that he was in by being on a show with me. So you push the blame. That's the mentality. I am soaking it in. I'm learning it and applying it in real time. You can do this as well. Don't take any accountability whatsoever. That's stupid. That's stupid. You sit here and you act like the boomers. This is all due to Trump. He put in a tariff all of a sudden. The tariff hasn't even been implemented yet. And we're already blaming Trump for the economic downfall of Canada. Maybe the system was so fragile to begin with that what he is doing is exposing it. And now politicians are running like chickens with their heads cut off. There's a boomer expression for you, so maybe you can understand that now they don't know what to do but point the blame, point the finger. If it wasn't for Trump, we got to attack Trump. It's all Trump's fault. You even hear it from Pierre. It's all Trump's fault. We're Doug Ford. Hey there, buddy. We're going to have to cut off the power to about 400,000 Minnesotans, even though they can rain down hell upon thee. They are going to sink our economy into the ground and buy our oil at discount prices. And it'll be fine and dandy because don't worry, old Dougie's still going to get his wage. But this is the issue. This is the issue I have with the boomer generation. And I wish I was in a financial position and owned a large home. This older generation is what should be happening is the opposite. You're seeing families trying to raise kids in condominiums, a 2-bedroom condominium, no backyard. There's no park within a kilometer of where they are living, And meanwhile, you have boomers who cannot go into the basement anymore in a 5-bedroom house. They're like, oh, we just don't go in the basement anymore, whenever. We just don't go down there anymore. You got you got a 6-bedroom house and 2 people living in it. The kids all left, and this would be a perfect home for but again, it's not affordable for the average family these days. The mom's working 2 jobs, the dad's working 2 jobs, the kids are being raised on the internet, so now they're like politicized at the ripe age of 10 and doing TikTok dances to Hitler speeches translated in English. So, what's happening? And you wonder why there is a disconnect between ages, the generations here. Boomers now look at millennials like they're lazy. You guys are lazy. You just had to pull up your bootstraps and just get to work. That's what I was told too. Just get to work. And I realized at a young age it was all a farce. It was all made up. It was all make fucking believe. The whole just go to school and get a good job. I looked at all the courses that I'd want to do. I got to put 3 years of work in. And then on top of that, will it all pan out? I got to pray to God that there's a job opening that I can apply for, or else I got to go and figure it out. I end up just working construction like I would have done anyways. If I didn't go to school, I would have been in the oil patch regardless. I would have, it just was a runaround. So at that point, I just scratched my head. I remember applying to schooling and thinking to myself, okay, this is what I want to do. I wanted to get into kinesiology, really into sports back in the day. Wanted to do maybe something there. I was training a lot. I was working out consistently. You're in an MMA gym. It's like, maybe these two, I really enjoy what I'm doing as a hobby. Maybe I can turn it into a job similar to young guys working on their trucks in high school. It's like, I like doing this. I'm good at it. It seems to be, right up my alley. I'll figure this all out. And now I am so happy I did not waste all that money inside of a institution like the University of Lethbridge. Granted, would I have been I can't even remember if I got accepted. I think I had to upgrade my science, and that was the only thing. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. But I'm going to go with I had to definitely do some upgrading. But just pull up your bootstraps, get to work. And now we have families living in 2-bedroom apartments, barely making rent, working 4 or 5 fucking jobs just to make ends meet. But thank God, thank God the boomers, this has all been working out for me. Why would I want to change? I'm not about to listen to the generations below me. Why would I want to do that? A lot of them are leaning conservative, but over my dead body, would I ever vote for Pierre because he's a racist? That's what the TV tells me. The convoy was all because of Pierre. Nobody got off their ass for Pierre. Nobody got off their ass. Hundreds of thousands of people did not gather for that dork to come out and be like, hey, we're going to axe the tax. Oh, yeah. No, nobody did. Nobody did. That was Canadians uniting as Canadians against a very draconian time in the nation. No politician can attach his name to that because none of them showed up. That was Canadians. And that should be another reason you look at this as a class war, a generational class war. That's what this is. This is not a left versus right. This is a vertical fight. And as you look up, and that's in age and wealth, those people seem to align with one another quite well. What is this bitch doing? What is this? This is Ghislaine Maxwell's PR woman. That's what I'm going to say. This is Ghislaine Maxwell's PR woman.
And last question here. What does this election mean to you personally?
Personally, it's going to make my decision if I go back to the UK or not to live.
Go
So
back!
I was born in Scotland. I've lived here since I was 10 weeks old.
Wow.
And have left.
10 weeks old. What? You know what? I don't like when people do that. I was born in Scotland and I've lived here since I was 10 weeks old and I'll have to go back. Like it's any better over there. Have you tapped in what's going on in the United Kingdom? Do you have any idea what's going on over there? Mass immigration is the same as here. Nothing's going to change. In fact, you're going to sell your house and realize like the money that you're going to make here and you translate it into euros, you're probably going to get less and you're going to complain more. What is going on? And then you'll finally feel what the young people here are feeling. I'll just go over there. I'll just move up. I'll pack up and leave. You know, my decision making over the past 20 years in this nation, 30 years, if we want to go that far back, has led to the destruction of the nation. So I'm just going to pack my shit up and leave, which I would do as well. I'm not above that at all. In fact, if I was given an opportunity to move down to the United States of America, you best believe I would take that right now. So I'm not above that decision making whatsoever. I'll put that back on me. She's right. I'm wrong. We would just, you know, we just have different end locations. That's all that's different here. We just have a different way of where we're going to end up at the end of the rainbow. At the end of the rainbow. Mine's stars and bars and yours is whatever's going on. Unbelievable.
Comes into, I will be selling my house and I'll be moving back to the UK.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
I have a lot invested. And
I have a lot invested. That's what I mean. That's what I like about the boomers. Very selfish. Very, very selfish. And it doesn't end there. You have to respect their stance, don't you? You do. You have to respect. Their minds have been manipulated for years and years and years. And now that the internet has been introduced, we watch them. They get duped by scams that you and I can see from 10 miles away. And that's the only way to make money in this country. So I implore you to start a scam that will deplete the wealth of the boomers. Everybody else is doing it. India's doing it. Sri Lanka's doing it. Fucking Vietnam. Where else? Somalia. There's a Nigerian prince on the end of the line. They fall for it every time. Some sort of computer problem that they've had. You just get them on there and you say you're with Norris, the virus company. You get their credit card information and you extract wealth from the boomers. And that's the only way we can fix this problem in this nation. And that's how you extract the wealth from the elderly and put it into your own pockets. That's how we're going to fix this. And then once they bankrupt it, well, the house is already owned, but then once their money is all tied up, you have it, they must sell their homes and move into these homes. And guess who's working in there? Millennials. And you can abuse these elderly people at your own will. It's win-win. You don't think I've thought about this? You don't think I've stewed about this? You can be Ben Stiller and Happy Gilmore. How about a nice glass of Shut the Fuck Up? You can start hitting them with that when their kin comes in, when their grandkids come in, be like, yeah, you tell. It's gonna be a rough week. What did he say? Extend. Craft's time's been extended. That's right. There is a disconnect between the boomer and the millennial, the divide, defining the Canadian election. Okay? Without seniors flocking to the Liberals, this election would be a cakewalk for the Conservatives. Isn't that something? Prime Minister Mark Carney watches the Winnipeg Jets. Oh, yeah, that's another issue we got. Oh, get to the story. Where is the story? Are they going to do that to me right now? Oh, God, I just read this. This article, you got to see, everybody's trying to squeeze their last dollar. Well, fuck you then. Wow. Oh, show notes. Anyways, let's move on to a Mark Carney rally. That took place. What riding was this? Georgetown. Okay, we're going to Licensing. Now, this is Kareem Assad. Her channel. Be sure to check her out. And take a look at the people in the crowd from Mark Carney. Looks quite similar. Let's take a look here. Look at this. Silver hair, silver hair. Somebody drugged their grandson out. They were like, hey, you want to skip school on a Thursday? We're going to head down to the Georgetown pub where Mark Carney's going to be. You're going to be allowed in the bar. It's almost like being a teenager in Mexico. You can come and belly up to the bar. You can't order anything, but it'll be a fun little time. Why don't you come down with grandma and hear what the big leader has to say? You're young enough, aren't you? 16, huh? Ghislaine's fresh meat. What do you say? You want to whack off a billionaire on a sexy little island down in Florida? Young boy? How's your grip strength? How's your grip strength? Do you think you could stroke a hog and get it to ejaculate within 15 strokes? Because if you can, you'll be very popular at a little island down in Little St. James, Florida. Do you want to freeze your ass off every winter, or do you mind just lotioning up the palms a little bit and stroking off an elderly man? You want to meet some of your favorite actors? You want to meet some of your favorite musicians? Some of the most world-renowned popular figures that have been in media for decades. Would you like to meet them? In fact, you're going to meet them. Oh, you're going to meet them, all right. Jeez Louise. Boy, oh boy, look at these. Look at this. This is what I mean. If you just, hold on. Let's play this. Look at this. This one's got a cane. This one's got a cane. For every 3 steps she takes, 1 able-bodied human being step. That's who's heading to the polls, folks. She better start walking right now. She's going to be late by the time the election happens. You better start walking to wherever the poll is in your town, unless all that generational wealth can get you an Uber. You could probably be able to afford a limo to take you down there. Because God forbid we got to protect our wealth. That's what I mean. You got to protect the wealth, folks. Whatever you have to protect it. Vote Liberal. The $18 that you have in your account, if you have interest on that, it could compound just over the years, and you might be able to buy a rack of a fucking shopping cart of groceries by the time you're about to expire. Granted, that inflation doesn't stay steady. Granted that. You could be ever so lucky, but this is what we're looking at here. Let's take a look. Look at these folks. Look at that idiot grinning. This is like, you got to have a police walk. These are counter-protesters, but look at this. Christ almighty. Look at the waddle on that old bastard. Oh, this is who's going to the polls. The total divide between generations here. There is not a single person other than that kid we seen that looks like he's walking with grandma just to ensure. It's like mom told him that he has to babysit. Grandma wants to go down and hear the new prime minister talk. You have to take her. And like, oh, do I have to? Yes, you do. This is your duty this week. This is your chore. If you do this, I promise I'll buy that new Roblox game, or I'll give you some of them Roblox points, or what do they call it? What do they call in the fucking points that you use to buy skins in Fortnite? Something bucks. V-Bucks. You get V-Bucks. I'll give you 1,000 V-Bucks, and you can get the new Fortnite skin if you take grandma down to the Mark Carney the campaign. If you take her, you get some V-Bucks. You get to spend your Saturday with grandma. Holy shit. Down at the St. George Pub. Look at this. Marcus Carney. This guy down at the bottom right-hand corner with a big shit-eating grin. My dear Lord, he bleach blonde his hair. He's fucking trying to look young, but it is not fooling me. I know a boomer when I see one, no matter how fucking blonde you dye your hair, you son of a bitch. You think you're going to fool me? I smell you people from a mile away. You smell like mothballs in old fucking stale Folgers coffee. You sneaky, sneaky devil. Plus, no young man is that fat right now. Unless they've been eating nothing. The only food that they can afford right now is McDonald's. They have to go to the value meal, and it's not even a value meal anymore. You used to be able to get a cheeseburger for $1.50, and now that's $4 and I think 99 cents for a cheeseburger at McDonald's. But buy Canadian. Buy Canadian. Elbows up, folks. Get out there. This in mind. Keep this in mind. These 55-year-olds and up are the ones saying elbows up that cannot get an elbow past their shoulder. They cannot do that. They are the ones that are saying fight, 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 fight. And all of us are looking at them like, are you out of your goddamn mind? And keep in mind, I'm not voting. I'm laying in the cut and I'm watching it all unfold. And these are the goons that are sitting here being like, we got to fucking donate more money to the Ukraine. Well, then get your old ass up, grab a gun and head to the front lines with some of those Ukrainians. And since you're so adamant on sending young people over to the front lines of a war we should not be involved in. But no, we can't do that. We need the young people to protect my generational wealth. And that generational wealth is simply because we were born in an era of time where money could actually get you somewhere. The purchasing power was much, much more powerful than it is now. So I was able to purchase a home. We don't even need to get into the size of the home. You were just able to purchase one on a singular wage while your wife stayed at home and raised your 3 children. Even though your job was simple, you just had to fix VCRs. And most people, that's such outdated technology that most kids, if I said, hey, what do you think a VCR is? They'd scratch their head for hours. No idea. They'd be trying to decipher what that acronym means, but they have no idea. Not a clue. And your grandfather, you want to know what he did back in the day? He fixed VCRs. He was able to buy a 4-bedroom home in Oakville, the suburbs, the GTA area. He built himself a nice big home. In fact, bought a lot, had a few acres, sold it. Now he's a millionaire. Sits on his ass all day long, bitching and moaning. Even though he's got millions and millions of dollars and he gets up at the ass crack of dawn to waddle down, make a fresh pot of coffee, and just allow the fucking CBC and the mainstream media to download his thoughts for the day. What am I going to argue with down at the local coffee shop? Ah, yes, that's right. The big issue right now is Mark Carney. What did he do? What's something that they're writing about? It was like, I've seen plagiarism. I've seen some people like say plagiarism. I don't even know how long ago it was, but I'm sure that's the big issue. Yeah, he plagiarized. Who gives a shit? You know, other than the siphoning of millions and millions of dollars, tax evasion, and all the other issues that could and controversies that could surround a man that has worked in the financial system for quite some time. Let's go back to his university papers from what 1985? Oh, wow. We're going 40 years back just to get a gotcha moment on this son of a bitch. There's a photograph with him with a convicted sex trafficker. Donald Trump had the same picture, and it got it was everywhere. This guy, and I don't give a shit. I'm not advocating for old Donnie down there. I don't care. All right. If I become a United States citizen, I cannot vote. I can talk about it. And like most Canadians that leave this country, I will become a Republican. Stephen Crowder, Gavin McInnes, the list goes on. Jordan Peterson. As soon as you leave the great nation of Canada, it seems as if you turn into a very vocal Republican the moment you get down into America. That seems to be the move. And I will do that. And just like these fucking libs here, I'll protect it by lying, cheating, stealing. Where else? The economic failure. That's another thing. The economic satisfaction is at records low, and the polling. Canadians are feeling record low levels of economic optimism and satisfaction in public services like housing and healthcare. A new analysis of the Gallup polling suggests presenting major challenges for whichever party forms government after the federal election. Let's get into it. We're going to listen to just the first little bit here and enjoy what mainstream media.
For more U.S. tariffs on Wednesday, Donald Trump calls it Liberation Day.
Here we go. Liberation Day.
Bracing for more U.S. tariffs on Wednesday, Donald Trump calls it Liberation Day. Germany is pushing back. From the German embassy in Ottawa, I'm Mercedes Stevenson, and the West Block starts now.
As the next devastating round of tariffs from President Trump are expected this week, Germany is one European country saying enough. We sit down with the German ambassador to Canada later in the show. But first, the federal horse race. We'll have the latest polls on the issues.
All right, no. This is not what I signed up for. I had a different video lined up, and that ain't it. But what we are going to... Okay, let's... Today, Tuesday's report presented as a series of tests for Canada's next Prime Minister, compiled nearly 2 decades of data collected annually from the pollsters' surveys of long-term issues is over 100 countries. While in the most recent polling was conducted months before U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs, policies, and attacks on Canada caused further uncertainty. See, this is where I disagree, is now they're turning the blame to Trump. They all have something to campaign on the tariffs that are incoming. This is where I disagree with all of this, is that these problems have been created internally. And I lose my mind when people start fucking bringing this up. It's like, well, that Donald Trump, that fascist Donald Trump. And it's like, why are we not giving the same energy to these people that put us in this position that are in Ottawa? Why are we not holding them accountable? They've put us in this position. Provinces like Quebec have denied access through their lands to have a pipeline that would reach the East Coast and get our oil and our natural resources to a different market. But instead, we rely on the United States of America to purchase our product. So now that just stifles the economic growth that could be in this nation. We should be a wealthy nation. We should be. But we've allowed so many other countries to infiltrate our economic system and allow them, to decide on the success of the nation. But no. It's Donald Trump's fault. I mean, it's in American companies that are here, and now all of a sudden, because you go to the grocery store and don't purchase peaches, now all of a sudden we get to pat ourselves on the fucking back. This is no different than those idiots walking around with masks on and then beating pots and pans for the nurses on their fucking patios during lockdowns. It's no different. It's just fake patriotism at its finest. The disdain that you have for Donald Trump does not translate into patriotism. No matter how much you think and believe it does not. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way, and many Canadians see right through it, so it's fun to troll these ultra-lib boomer fucks and say that we want to become the 51st state because they know that their generational wealth, well, quite honestly, if they translate dollar for dollar, it would increase. So you'd think the selfish nature of the boomer would see this, that the American dollar is fucking, 69 cents on the dollar? So you increase your money, 40, would that be, I'm bad at math. 40 cents on every dollar, and whatever you have racked up, you're looking pretty fucking good if you ask me. If you're sitting here and you'll be like, wow, your arms are crossed, and now you can sell your house in American money, and now you can travel abroad and take that dollar fucking that's 10 times stronger than what it was before. You'd think the selfishness of the boomer, but here's the thing, that we forget this. The selfishness only applies because the TV tells them what to think. If the TV started telling them, these dumbasses that sit in lazy boys sipping fucking mochas in the morning, having a nice bowl of shredded wheat. If the TV told them that the 51st state was a good idea, what do you think they would be doing? They would abandon the patriotism yesterday. And they'd be all in. Yeah, we need to be a part of America. That's how easily manipulated these fucking dummies are. These bugs, as my friend Jordan Anderson would say on the Chrome Boys podcast. He calls them bugs because that's what they are. You can dictate where they go. You can manipulate their paths. They're rodents. They're idiots. You just lay seeds in front of them. They'll walk right into whatever trap that you would like them to go into. That's how easily manipulated these dummies are. And it's sad. It's sickening because their own selfish behavior is causing more destruction for young Canadians. It is. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Pierre Poilievre is going to be the answer because he had a layup. He had a layup. It was the easiest election for conservatives to win, and he decided to just run on the idea that Justin Trudeau is bad and I'm good. And now that changed, he has nothing. He lost a 30-point lead. You could not have a better opportunity to snatch an election. Now, could the polls be? Who knows? But as it seems right now, with polling, let's say the polling is correct. I'm not going to be a poll denier today, but let's say the polling is correct. He dropped the bag heavy. And now these Goombas that sit here and consume media and cannot see through it, cannot understand that this is an extension of the federal government. They control the media. They control the information that you consume. And you try and tell them that and be like, well, why would the government lie to me? I have a list of reasons. In fact, there is a unlimited amount of reasons why the government would lie to you. You go 4 years back. Look at all the shit that they were telling. You're telling me that none of them knew about the science? That we had to trust the science? And then this campaign started happening? It was like Quicksilver in the 90s. It was fucking cool then. And now it's like, now you're looking at it and be like, that was kind of gay. Why do we wear puka shell necklaces in 1999? That was kind of gay. Don't try and bring that back. That was gay. And everybody's scratching their heads trying to figure out how we ended up there. Because dumbasses just fucking let it fucking eat them up. But if you say anything, well, you must be a right-wing fascist. No, I don't buy into it. I'm not buying into the system. I just don't think I've lost my faith in democracy. I truly have, because I think that people have like, we just become this like bacteria. That's all we are. We're bacteria that can be moved and placed in positions that are beneficial for the wealthy, beneficial for the ruling class, beneficial for those that are in the top 1% on this planet. And that's all we are. We're just put in positions. They make life tougher for you. They don't want you owning homes. They don't want you having any form of like autonomy over your body, any sovereignty in any freedom whatsoever. And it's very key. And these people that are like, what freedoms have you lost? What freedoms are you protecting? Let me ask you that. What freedoms are you protecting? You scream that like fucking everything matters. You put whatever flavor of the week in front of matters. Trans lives matters. Why are we, if you believe in that, then if you want to protect them, then the rest follow. It's no different than anything else. If you want to protect trans lives matter, it's very simple. You have to protect the whole umbrella of it all. Because if that crumbles, it's all gone. It's all gone. So that very little finite thing that you zero in on, there's other problems that surround it. And if those all crumble, yours is gone. And it's all fake and gay anyways. Look at the BLM. Look at BLM, Black Lives Matter. The founder of it, The moment that they had the opportunity to leave the hood, they bought 2 homes in Calabasas. Couldn't get any whiter, if I'm being honest, when it comes to neighborhoods. Could not get any whiter when it comes to Calabasas. Had to get the fuck out of the hood. There's too much money. Might get fucking... But that's what I mean. What freedoms are you protecting? I ask you that. What freedoms did you lose? What are you protecting? What ones are you protecting? Are you protecting freedom of speech? Freedom to protest? People got trampled at the trucker convoy. Now you're watching people in the United States get arrested for having a stance against Israel. You're watching it's all crumbling and you all cheered it on. But instead of like standing up for the common person, the common man, those that are reachable, they're across. You can look to your left and right and you see them. They exist. You cannot look up and see the wealthy. You may get a glimpse of them at a campaign stop. You may get a glimpse of them possibly hopping into a limo where you can accost them outside of the House of Commons. You may get an opportunity to see these people out in public, but they are protected. They have policemen. They have bodyguards to ensure their safety. You don't. They do. But that's the only time you get to see them. You just get a glimpse. You can see them on the television screen, on your phone. They are not accessible. Those around you, they want you fighting with those accessible. Your family members, your friends, they want to divide it up. They want these like finite group of people that are subgenres of the original like cause that you began. That's why you see a lot of these crumble, because then the ideas start shifting and everybody forgets the common goal. What are we working towards? We want bodily autonomy, right? That was the whole purpose, I believe, of the trucker convoy. You wanted bodily autonomy for the purpose to work. And then other subgroups come in and you get these feds that dress up. They hide their identity. They walk around with fucking rebel flags that have a truck on it to try and discredit the movement. This has happened again. You can go back to the Black Panthers if you want to go on a deep dive on that. They were infiltrated by feds. The Black Panthers were infiltrated by feds, and that was where their destruction began. To think that the government is on your team, you're out of your mind. And that's why I will be standing outside of the high school on election day with my cock out. Like the good Lord intended. It's going to be a Catholic school so I can fit in with the boomers. Me and a boomer pastor are going to stand there with our cocks out and scream at all the 14-year-old boys that walk by and say, do you like that? Because guess what? We're on a scouting report for Ghislaine and Mark Carney, and you, my friend, are the star of the basketball team, and boy, oh boy, do you look good in gym shorts, don't you? Me and Pastor Pete, you know what? We're going to take you for a spin. And if you pass the test, you can go to a fun little island down in Florida. All expenses paid. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. We will see you next week. Be sure to check out the exclusive episode. We're taking a deeper dive into the election, all the things that I've seen that maybe YouTube won't like. I know we kind of went extreme today. The purpose of this show is to be obnoxious and loud and retarded and have bad takes. So just so you know, if you got to this portion of the show, don't take anything that I say serious. I'm not a political advisor. I'm not a political strategist. I don't have a degree in poli-science. None of it. I'm an idiot with a microphone, just like everybody else on the internet. DangerCatShop.com for tickets. Patreon.com/DangerCat69 for exclusive episodes and a great way to support this show. And we appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here. And we'll see you next week, Thursday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Good night, everybody.